Welcome to Across the Pond, a podcast for leaders in market research to help them grow their insight agencies. With Steve Henke and Paul Griffiths.
Well, welcome back, everybody. Welcome to episode 3 of Across the Pond, a podcast for growing your insights agency. I'm Steve Henke with Harpeth Marketing.
Hi, and I'm Paul Griffiths from Client Advocates. And episode 3 is all about differentiation. Should your market research agency be worrying or thinking about how it differentiates itself in terms of its brand and its marketing and its positioning in the market? And heads up, I think this may be where Steve and I have our first public spat. We've had plenty in private, but this may be our first public. So go on, Mr. Henke. Why don't you kick off?
All right, I'll do my best. So last episode, we talked about some of the biggest issues plaguing insights agency from a sales and marketing perspective.
Yep.
And one of the things we didn't talk about that I thought was at the top of the list was a lack of differentiation. Mm-hmm. That I don't want to say all, that's unfair, but a vast majority of firms provide the same kinds of services to the same kinds of clients and talk about them the same way. Just go visit websites if you want. Mm-hmm. And how many times are we going to see the phrase actionable insights, right? Or senior level involvement, or other terms that everybody talks about it the same way. And None of those things are bad inherently. The problem is, if I'm a buyer, how do I choose?
Yep.
Right? Everybody looks the same, talks the same, does the same thing. So how do I choose from amongst all of these generalists? Which is why I think if you can differentiate yourself, specialize in some way, answer the question, why hire us, other than we do great work and we have really great people, then I think you stand a better chance of standing out in the marketplace with the buyers that you're trying to influence.
Okay. So, and if I might be so bold, how do you therefore differentiate? Because if so far, absolutely, we align. We all recognise what you've just described. A lot of agencies saying we do great work. We do really good work with great clients. We've got really great staff. We've got some whiz-bang methodologies that are in fact all the same methodologies. We specialize, but we specialize across every single sector, doing every single type of research. So that I all recognize. But so how do you differentiate?
I have an answer. Actually, I have 12 answers to that question, but it's funny.
We've only got 20 minutes.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just today look on my LinkedIn profile. I published an article. I was at the Corporate Researchers Conference in where the hell was it? Wherever I was last week in New York, and there was a panel of large agencies up on the dais, and they're all kind of describing their firms. And one firm, who shall remain nameless, said, "We specialize in a variety of things." Going, well, wait a minute. That doesn't even make any sense. And she wasn't the only one to say that. So to me, it is a pervasive issue. And I think we got here probably for a couple of reasons. One is these small firms, when they first started out, were happy to take any work from anybody. And so they're taking it from a variety of industries, doing a variety of things. Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
And now I think where we are is nobody wants to say no.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Well, wait a minute. If I specialize in CPG and a tech project comes to me, I have to turn it down.
Yeah.
And my response to that is, yes, you do. The thing that most people are forgetting is when you are a specialist, you get sought out because of that specialty, whatever that thing is, as opposed to, I need to say no to some percentage of things that come my way. But now all of a sudden people are coming to you. It's no different than a general practitioner as a physician, or you're a cardiologist. Yeah. If I got a heart problem, I'm going to seek out a cardiologist. The other guy I go to when I need my normal stuff, but I'm going there for the specialty, and I think it's kind of the same way.
Okay, so if I might just interject there. I don't agree with that, or part of what you've just said. So I would always say to agencies, you need to specialize. You need to decide what you're going to be famous for. And if that's CPG, then go for it. Now, what I always would add is if a tech client comes to you and says, "Oh, we'd like you to do this work for us, and we think you do a really great job," then you shouldn't turn it away. You should be pragmatic about it. You should pitch for it, hopefully win it, and do the work. But that doesn't mean you have to dilute or unspecialize when it comes to the way you are selling yourself and the way you are communicating yourself about yourself. So I would always, as an ex-commercial director, I'd be like, take the bloody work, win it, take the revenue. That doesn't mean we have to change the way we express ourselves in the marketplace.
Okay, two responses to that, Paul. First of all, I think when you take the tech job in this example, you do begin to dilute that specialty. You begin to dilute your brand. And the more of those that you take because you're happy to take them, all of a sudden you've just diluted it completely. I also think if you start talking about it the same way, but you're willing to do anything, you start talking about being a specialist, but you start taking everything, you're misleading the marketplace. You're being disingenuous to the marketplace. So I don't know that there's a right answer here or there's a perfect answer. I tend to come down on pick your specialty, put a stake in the sand and stick to it, be that thing. And we live it too. I mean, we are an agency that specializes in the market research space. We don't take on any other projects, though I get requests all the time. But as I said, the flip side is we get sought out because we're a specialist.
Yeah, sure.
I do believe that.
Okay, so look, I absolutely buy the specialism. Although I think even we'll bring it back into differentiation in a minute, but I'm not sure the specialism will give you differentiation because of the size and scale of the market. But I think you can be pragmatic about winning and doing work that isn't in your area of particular focus. I agree you have to be careful about dilution, but it's about, sales and marketing is about choosing what you present to the marketplace. It's not necessarily about saying all of the things we do and all. So I have agencies who will do qual and quant, but will want to major on a particular methodology because that's their area of expertise and specialism. But that wouldn't, the other work they do doesn't, I don't think, take away from that. It maybe just gives them a surety of revenue and income.
And it based on what's happening in the marketplace right now, it's clear that most agencies think more like you than they think like me. Okay, so if a firm decides that they do want to specialize or differentiate, how do they do it? I really do think there's a bunch of different ways to do it, but there's what I would call the four big ones, right? I think you specialize in a vertical industry.
Yep.
That we are the go-to, we are the financial services experts. Anything you want to do, we got you. I think there's horizontal markets, right? We are specialists in the Hispanic marketplace, or we focus on the seniors, kind of, if you want to do it that way. Or even in the business world, we work with HR directors, right? Across industries. I think methodologies, and we see this probably more than anything. We are the qualitative specialists, right? We know whatever that methodology is.
Yeah.
And then I think there's the application specialist, where we specialize in concept testing. We specialize in customer satisfaction, regardless of the methodology. That's the outcome. Those to me are, if there's going to be firms that specialize or differentiate, it's going to be around one of those. There's some others, but those are to me the four big ones.
Okay. So I think we've got, what we may have here is not necessarily such a disagreement as a difference in language. So I absolutely endorse specialization, and what you've just described. Any of my clients listening to this will go, "Oh God, Paul, all he ever bloody talks about is specialization." Because I look at it practically just from a sale. If you're a small agency with not a lot of budget, try and pretend that you're good at everything is just crazy. You want to, if you've got restricted time and resources, you want to focus in on your target market and absolutely nail, to your point, actually, who are we selling to really specifically? What's the commercial issue they have? Therefore, off the back of that, what's the thing that we do that meets that commercial issue? And then finally, well, why are we better than everybody else that says they do the same damn thing? So that specialization and strategic focus on your positioning, I absolutely buy. What I am phlegmatic about differentiation is that in this where we've got so many small, medium-sized market research agencies, and in the UK, the US is even a multiple of that. Actually, if you're a small agency, even though you're really good at saying those things, that's not going to give you genuine differentiation, because there's always going to be other competitors. And actually, I'm fairly relaxed about that, because for me, it's not about, you need that specialization, that differentiation, but what it's then is about is the execution. And you can have the same messages as everybody else, but if you are in the market communicating more effectively, more often, with more impact and more consistent, and I talk about it again and again, resilience and consistency and persistence, then I think you can get away with being undifferentiated if you're just bloody good at sales and marketing and having the process and the systems to do the stuff. So the differentiation is great, and it should be part of what you do, but the execution is actually where the commercial value sits and lies and is generated.
In the execution of your work, or in the execution of the marketing?
Both.
Okay. Yeah. No argument. Yeah. I think that's one of the conversations that I have with my agency clients as well, right? If you are not differentiated, then you better be really clear on how you talk about it.
Yeah.
But if you are differentiated, talk about it. And they don't.
Yeah.
They either don't recognize that they have a point of differentiation, or if they do, they're not using it as the pointy end of their marketing spear and being very, very clear and cohesive on a consistent and frequent basis when they take that message to the marketplace. I don't disagree with you, Paul. I think communicating your position, whatever it is, effectively solves a lot of problems.
So I think, I suppose, therefore, for me, differentiation is trumped by execution.
Okay. I'm a strategy first guy. I might disagree with you on that, but that's okay. I mean, whatever works for you. I think, if you just kind of go along with the same old stuff, then you're going to lose no matter what you do. It's the firms that have a defined strategy and a good execution that are going to have success in the marketplace. And there are examples of that floating around. I think the other piece of both the marketing and the execution is internally, right? Well, execution clearly is internally, but from a marketing perspective, make sure that if there's a change in your strategy and you say, you know what, from this point forward, we're going to be specialists in financial services because to date it's been 80% of our business, so we're going to focus on it. Great.
Yeah.
Communicate it effectively to your team. Make sure they understand it. Make sure understand not just what, but why you're doing it, but also make sure that they are trained on how to talk about it. Because if you're going to the marketplace with bad example, advertisements on your financial services expertise, but one of your key project managers is talking to a client about all the different industries because they didn't buy into it or they weren't trained properly. They've diluted the effort you're taking to the marketplace. So there's this sort of top down, everybody's got to be in lockstep in terms of whatever that message is to whatever marketplace it is. We need to be talking about it the same way.
Yeah. And that's really interesting, because part of my rationale about, we were talking before about, you claim you're a CPG or FMCG specialist, you end up doing some tech work. One of the things I've witnessed over many years is inevitably when you and I start working with an agency, they already have teams doing probably a range of different specialities. So they may well have a tech team and a financial services team and a CPG team.
Yep.
And while you are right about you've got to make everyone aligned, one of the reasons why I am perhaps slightly more pragmatic about that approach is that I've got to help my client recognize that they may well already have £2 or £3 million worth of or dollars worth of revenue and a team of 6 people doing tech work. So while the business wants to promote and talk about the fact it's differentiation or specialization around CPG, we can't disenfranchise or disengage from the 4 people who are already doing tech work. So I think part of this challenge is, and actually maybe this is the learning from this, is that if you go and set up a new agency, have laser sharp kind of complete and utter focus.
Yep.
If you're an agency that's already established and well run and doing well, but you're looking to grow and looking to get more growth into your business, it's a more complicated mix. And probably the growth is you need to decide on what your strategy is for that growth,
Yep.
decide on your core growth segments, your core markets, and your communication, your sales, your marketing around that needs to execute around that area of decision where you are going to grow beyond kind of, just kind of doing everything for everybody.
Can I throw out a couple other examples of differentiation that I've seen that I think are kind of interesting?
Yeah.
There is a firm in the States, and I'm not going to say it, frankly, because I can't remember it, but they're in the Mid-Atlantic area over near DC, and they have a unique business model, which is something we don't see very often. It's not your standard project-based thing. They have for lack of a better term, an all-you-can-eat model, a retainer model.
Okay.
I have never seen a contract, so I can't attest to the way that it's built and all the caveats. But for a flat fee per month, you basically get all the research you can use.
Yeah. Okay.
That is a really interesting business. They've been around for a while, so it must be working at some level.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the limiters are on how many projects or how big projects or anything, but I think, okay, from a business perspective, you want to talk about a real differentiator. That virtually nobody else is going to follow. That's a really interesting one to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I think about the biggest firms in the world, right? The Ipsos, the Cantars. They do everything for everybody, which doesn't sound very differentiated. But I think if they talk about it properly, it absolutely is. They have a scope that nobody else can match, right? They can do any project of any size for any company with any methodology anywhere in the world at any time. Who else can do that? There aren't many. They're built to do that. So I think, that to me, rather than we have 27 different specialties and all that, that's not their specialty. Their specialty is that scope that nobody can match. So I think there's some interesting differentiators out there, which to me maybe in this case, a little different than specializing, that are based on something other than the research they do. It's the way they conduct their business, to me, is pretty interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I think we kind of sort of agree and maybe also slightly disagree.
Kind of, sort of.
Sort of. We've done another 20 minutes. We come to the end. It's a shame on this one. I'd quite like to carry on with this one, but I'm not going to impose that on our audience, all 6 of them, and that's including me and you. So look, Steve, thank you so much. This is now episode 3. Episodes 4 and 5 will come henceforth. I still not sure we've decided on what we're going to talk about for the next ones. If anybody would like to give us some ideas, or there's something that they want to kind of hear us pontificate about, then do let us know. But in the meantime, Steve, as ever, thank you very, very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Paul, the pleasure is always mine. Thank you. Good seeing you, my friend. I really am convinced we just need to change the name of this podcast to Two Dudes Talking, because that's kind of what it feels like to me. It is so easy and comfortable. So thank you for that. I will see you online for the next podcast soon.
Brilliant. Cheers, dude.
See you, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching and listening to Across the Pond. Get in touch with Paul at clientadvocates.co.uk and Steve at harpethmarketing.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.